They lower a crown toward your head, and an entire abbey chants your name back at you. Your hand rests on a belly 6 months round, and underneath all the gold and the incense, you keep catching the small movements at the edges, men counting something on their fingers, lips moving over a number. Somewhere a clerk has already inked the word prince onto a letter before the child under your hand has drawn a single breath. The door that carried you in at the water's edge sits quiet behind you, as if it is only waiting to be opened the other way. Stay. You are the most wanted woman in England, and you have decided that wanted means safe. But the more they want you, the harder they are counting, and the day that number comes out wrong, the same hand lifting you now will set you down faster than it ever raised you, and you will not hear it coming. Right now, though, the crown is still in the air, and every face in the abbey is turned toward you. The crown is heavier than you thought. It comes down slow, and the whole abbey holds its breath with you. Cloth of gold everywhere, incense thick enough to lean on, crushed rushes underfoot, green and sweet in the warm air. A king tore a church in half to put you under this weight. Rome said no, and he unmade Rome rather than let you go. Every face turned toward you is a face that chose you over the bishop of the whole known world. You are the most wanted woman in England. And wanted, you have decided, means safe. 6 months of child sits under your hand. The realm has broken itself to bring you here, and a realm does not throw away the thing it broke itself for. That is the arithmetic you trust. You are the answer they all waited for, and the awaited are not discarded. You feel the future kick beneath your palm. Warm, gold, certain. It is the last hour it will ever be that simple, and you spend it sure of everything. Somewhere in a scribe's room, your victory is already written down. The clerks could not wait. Letters go out ahead of the birth, drafted in a careful hand, sealed and stacked, ready to ride the moment you deliver. You have seen the wording. It thanks God for the safe delivery of a prince. A prince. The word sits there in dried ink, weeks before there is a child to give it to. Everyone is so sure. The king is sure. The court is sure. The midwives speak of him already, this boy, as though he is only running late. You let yourself be sure with them. Why not? You are the woman the realm rebuilt itself around. Of course it is a son. The letters say so, and letters do not lie. It feels like faith, all this certainty poured out ahead of you. It feels like being held. You do not yet notice that a word written before the fact is not a blessing. It is a bill. Someone has already decided what you owe. The ink is only waiting to learn whether you paid. The child comes on a bright September afternoon, and the child is a girl. You hold her. She is furious and perfect and yours, and for one breath, the room is only warm. Then you watch the cold reach the men at the edges. A pause. A glance pass between them. Down a corridor, a clerk lifts one of those ready letters, the ones that thank God for a prince. He does not tear it up. Tearing it up would cost paper and time, and the admission that the whole realm guessed wrong. So he dips the quill and he adds one letter. Prince becomes princess with a single stroke, and the letter rides out as if nothing broke. Your entire worth just swung on the width of a pen mark, and it swung the wrong way. The joust they had planned for your son is quietly called off. Nobody explains it to you. The candles are the same. The cloth is the same. But a hairline has opened in all that gold, and you can feel the warmth drop half a degree. A daughter is not a private sorrow here. A daughter is a wrong answer, corrected in ink and sent. Now that you have seen it once, you cannot stop seeing it. The court still bows, the court still smiles. But under every bow you catch the small movements, lips moving over a silent count, a steward's fingers folding down against his palm as you pass. 1, 2, 3. They are counting months. Months since the wedding, since the daughter, toward the next chance. The applause was never only applause. It was the sound they made while they did their sums. You walk the length of the hall, and you understand that the whole warm room is doing quiet arithmetic against your body. The cloth of estate over your head, the silk that bows when you move, all of it was hung on a number, not on you, on what you might yet produce. You are not the queen they love. You are the total they are waiting on. And a total that comes out wrong is not loved a little less. It is crossed out. You keep your face still and gracious. Inside, for the first time, you are counting too, and you do not like where the sum is going. Winter. And you are carrying again, and this one they are certain of. A boy, the physicians promise. The number is about to come right at last. Then, on a gray January morning, it ends. The child inside you, a son this time, a true son, comes far too soon and does not live. You lose him on the very day they are lowering the old queen you replaced into the ground, the first wife, buried across the country while your loss is carried quietly out of your chamber. 2 women, 1 grave and 1 empty cradle on the same cold day. You grieve him. He was a person, small and gone, and he was yours. But the room around you does not grieve. The room does its arithmetic, gets the wrong answer again, and you can feel it deciding what that answer means. You bury a son, and the court hears a verdict. The cradle they built goes out empty, and every eye that watches it leave is already counting past you. That emptiness inside the cradle is the coldest thing you have ever seen. It is about to become the temperature of the entire room. After that, the warmth goes out of the rooms 1 door at a time. The king stops coming. No announcement, no quarrel you could name, just a slow withdrawal, like heat leaving a hearth that no one feeds. He is polite when you do meet. Polite is worse than angry. Angry still wants something from you. You begin to notice where the warmth went. It is moved to a quieter corner of the court, and there is a woman standing in it, softer spoken than you, pale, patient, easy to overlook. She keeps her eyes down and her hands folded, and the men who used to count your months now steady themselves on her stillness. You do not yet know what she is. You only feel the draft, and see her standing in the one warm part of a cooling room, waiting, as though she has been given a date you were never told. The gold is still on the walls, but you have started to feel the cold behind it, the way you feel weather through glass. You wanted warmth to mean you were loved. Warmth, you are learning, was only ever rented, and the lease was written to the womb, not to you. The same kind of ink that wrote your triumph is moving again, and this time it moves in the dark. You do not see it begin. That is the whole point of it. Somewhere a careful man sits with paper and starts to gather. A word here, a date there. A servant asks the same question twice until the second answer is more useful than the first. He is not searching for the truth of you. A decision about you has already been made, up high, in a room you were never in. Now the paper only has to catch up to the decision. That is the order of it, and the order is backwards. Evidence is meant to come first and the verdict after. Here the verdict came first, months ago, in the cooling room, and the ink is only being taught to say so. You feel watched in a new way. Your own ladies grow careful around you. A pause before they answer. A glance toward the door. You are still the queen. But something with no face and no name is being written about you, page by quiet page, and you will not be shown one line of it until it is finished, and it is far too late. It moves faster now. Your ladies-in-waiting are taken aside, one by one, and asked things, pressed. What they will not say is supplied for them and set in front of them to sign. Frightened people put their names to frightened words. You are never in those rooms. You only feel the result of them come back. The way you feel a season turn, and the court begins to speak of you in a tense that has not happened yet, past tense. They lower their voices as you pass, but not the way you lower your voice for a queen. The way you lower it near a body in a corridor you must step around to get by. You are still breathing, you are still crowned, and already they move around you as though the space you stand in is a space soon to be empty. That is the cruelty no one will say to your face. They have stopped waiting for the ending. They have begun stepping past it. You have become the corpse. The room politely walks around while it is still warm. They come for you and they take you to the tower by water. You know this river. You know this gate. 3 years ago, the same water carried you here in a barge stacked with cloth of gold, trumpets on the banks, the whole city out to see you lifted. The gate opened for a crowning. Now the same gate opens again, quietly, and the same walls take you in. They bring you up into rooms you know. You have stood here before. These are the queen's lodgings, the very ones dressed and refurbished for your coronation. The silk hung fresh for the morning they made you queen. Nobody built you a dungeon. Nobody had to. They simply opened the same door the other way and walked you back through it. The room that received you as the most wanted woman in England now holds you as its prisoner, and it changed nothing about itself to do it. Same cloth, same walls, same door. The door that lifts you, you understand now, is the door that lowers you, and it costs the crown nothing at all to decide which way it swings. There is something you have not been told, and it is already happening. Across the water, in a town the crown still holds on the far coast, a message has arrived asking for a particular man. He is very good at one narrow thing. He is being paid to cross the sea and bring that skill to a small green inside these walls. He sets out. He is on the road while you are still in your rooms, still waiting for a trial that has not even opened. Think about the timing of it. The trial is the part where they are meant to weigh whether the charges are true. And the ending of it is already on horseback, already crossing the water, days before the weighing begins. No one sends a man across the sea to finish a thing they still mean to weigh. The verdict is not being decided. It is being delivered. Out on some foreign road, in ordinary daylight, your death is a traveler making good time toward you, and inside these warm walls, you do not yet know his name. You only feel the air go very still, the way it goes still before a thing that has already been settled. When the trial finally comes, it is crowded and solemn and entirely a performance. 27 of the realm's great men sit to judge you. One of them is your own uncle. They have heard the gathered ink read aloud, the adultery, the incest, the treason, the plotting against the king's own life. Charges the years to come will regard as built rather than found, a case assembled to fit a decision already taken. You stand and you answer them clearly. You are steadier than they expected. It does not matter. It was never going to matter, because the man crossing the sea is the real verdict, and this room is only catching up to his journey. One by one, the great men give the word that was arranged before they sat down. Guilty. Your uncle says it too. The room performs its shock, and performs its gravity, and none of it is real, because the answer walked in the door with them. A trial is supposed to be the thing that decides. Yours is the last thing to happen, the ceremony that signs what the road already carried. You are found guilty of everything, by everyone, in a room where the truth was never once invited in. The morning is bright. That is almost the cruelest part of it, a fine spring morning, and the birds do not know. They walk you out to the green inside the walls, the small enclosed green where the grass is very neat. The man from across the sea is here now, his journey is over. Yours is nearly. You say your few careful words to the small crowd, and you keep your dignity, because dignity is the last thing left that is entirely yours to give or to withhold. Then the world narrows to the neat grass and the bright sky. And here the frame turns away from the sword. It rests instead on the empty road on the far coast, the road that carried him, quiet again. It rests on the rooms behind you, going still. It is done in the time it takes to say it, and the fine morning goes on being fine, indifferent, bright. The most wanted woman in England is gone before the bells have finished ringing, and the realm that broke itself in half to have you does not so much as pause. The number came out wrong. The hand that lifted you set you down, and it was faster on the way down. It is always faster on the way down. This is the reveal the whole story held back. That quieter woman in the cool of the room, the pale one with the folded hands, the one you could not name a threat, count the days. 11. That is how long the warmth stays empty. 11 days after the green, the king takes her, the woman who had been standing in the cooling part of the room the entire time. She stands now exactly where you stood. The same court, the same cloth, the same men who once counted your months turn and smile toward her waist and begin, already, to count hers. The cooling room is warm again. It was never your warmth. You understand it fully now, too late to use it. Grief was never on the schedule. There was no gap left for mourning because the replacement was chosen, waiting, already in the room while you still wore the crown on your head. The lease on all that gold was never written in your name. It was written to the next living body that might give the realm its number. She was in the cool of the room the whole time. The warmth simply walked 11 steps and stood behind her instead. Here is the part that should follow you out of this room. You have spent your whole life being told that to be wanted is to be safe, that if enough people turn toward you, choose you, cheer you, then you are held, you are kept, you cannot fall. Look again at everything you just lived through. Every hand that reached for you was also a hand that could count you. The cheering was arithmetic. The warmth was rented. The door that lifted you was always the same door that could lower you. And the more they wanted you, the harder they were counting, because wanting, in the end, is only a number somebody keeps checking against your body. The Anne Boleyn in the famous portrait, the tidy legend on the gallery wall, was never quite the you who stood in the cooling room and felt the draft come through the gold. And here is what should keep you awake tonight. You still do it. You still hear being wanted as being safe. You have never once stopped. in the middle of all that warmth, to listen underneath it for the quiet, patient sound of fingers counting.